It's a worldwide competition out there.
U.S. farmers sounding the alarm.
Chinese entities have bought up farmland surrounding 19 U.S. military bases.
A rising threat from communist China.
We have to make sure our small businesses are on a very competitive playing field.
If you look at things like research and development, China offers a 200% deduction for the first year. In the current U.S. tax code, you get less than 20%.
The tax system we need to design for the coming decade are different than what we did a decade ago. What does the economy look like today? But what does it look like a decade, 2 decades from now?
When the TCJA was enacted, it unleashed the power of American industry.
We had one of the highest business tax rates in the world. We are now one of the lowest. That allows us to compete with countries like China.
Companies pile up huge cash balances and then they say, well, they can't bring them back because they'd have to pay a tax. That part of the tax code is really going to have to get looked at hard at some point.
The Trump tax cuts allowed us to keep our companies. During the Obama years, because of a horrible tax structure, 28 companies left our country. After the tax cuts, no companies left.
Not one company has left the United States.
Great companies that are now moving back to our country. They're coming back in.
The key to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, we became more competitive as a country.
America is more competitive now internationally, which helps all Americans.
It's revenue generating. If you are able to have a competitive tax bracket, companies will choose to be in the U.S. They choose to be in the U.S., that revenue stays home.
Letting the tax cuts expire, increasing corporate taxes. It doesn't work that way. Taxing people more here at home allows people then to go somewhere else. We have to compete globally.
China's looking at how do they defeat U.S. companies? How do they defeat America in general? We need to make sure that we're competitive in the United States.
The worst thing that we can do is increase taxes and run things off our shores and into other countries. In the world of pharmaceuticals, we have now learned the risk we are at because so many of the active pharmaceutical ingredients come from China. We have got to be able to do that here.
I've met with businesses all across, not just Ohio, but the United States that say they want us to be competitive in the worldwide marketplace.
We're in global competition. I do not want to invest in China. They can make a product cheaper. Keeping your own products on the shelf is more important.
We saw, I think, up to $3 trillion in reinvestment. Certainly millions of jobs created in the few years after the implementation of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
The whole thing has been such great benefit to the country and to our economy. We can keep that going if we reestablish these tax cuts.